Turning now to new details in the JonBenet Ramsey case. You may recall this was a very sensational case and it involved 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey, and it captured the nation's attention 25 years ago. The 6-year-old was the daughter of an affluent family in Boulder, Colorado, and was a child beauty queen. Well, now, a quarter century after Ramsey was found bludgeoned and strangled to death in her family's home, police say they're looking into DNA testing to see if today's technology can help identify her killer.
For nearly 28 years, the brutal murder of JonBenet Ramsey, the 6-year-old beauty queen found dead in her Boulder, Colorado home the day after Christmas in 1996, has remained one of the most haunting and perplexing mysteries in American criminal history. Despite intense media coverage, multiple investigations, and numerous theories over the years, the identity of JonBenet's killer has never been definitively established. However, after decades of frustration, new DNA breakthroughs and recent developments have rekindled hope that this cold case could finally be solved. With John Ramsey, JonBenet's father, expressing newfound optimism following pivotal meetings with law enforcement, the use of advanced DNA technology, and genetic genealogy, a method that has already been successfully employed to catch high-profile criminals like the Golden State Killer, the possibility of uncovering JonBenet's killer is closer than ever. Let's take a closer look at the latest advancements and revelations that are giving hope to JonBenet's family and the public.
Keep pressuring them, but if they don't tell me what they're doing, then I've got to assume the worst.
Ramsey still has not watched the docuseries that his family's pain is the centerpiece of.
John, you think you'll ever watch?
It stirs up, frankly, some anger and emotion and a whole mix of things. And I know the story, I lived it.
And why this case may soon see its long-awaited resolution. The night of December 25th, 1996 was meant to be a joyous occasion for the Ramsey family. After returning home from a Christmas dinner, JonBenet, her brother Burke, and their parents John and Patsy Ramsey settled in for the night. But what was supposed to be a peaceful holiday quickly turned into a nightmare when Patsy Ramsey discovered a ransom note on the spiral staircase of their home, demanding a sum of $118,000. A suspiciously specific amount that matched John Ramsey's bonus that year. Despite the urgency of the situation, JonBenet was not immediately found. Family friends came and went from the house as police were called, and it wasn't until several hours later that John Ramsey found his daughter's body in the basement, hidden under a blanket with a ligature around her neck. An autopsy revealed that JonBenet had been sexually assaulted, suffered a skull fracture, and was ultimately suffocated. A DNA profile was recovered from JonBenet's fingernails and underwear, as well as from the garrote used to strangle her. However, despite these key pieces of evidence, the investigation was marred by improper handling of the crime scene, with police immediately turning their focus to the Ramsey family as suspects. For nearly 3 decades, the Ramseys, particularly John Ramsey and his late wife Patsy, were publicly branded as suspects. The media frenzy and scrutiny surrounding the case only deepened their pain, as their personal lives were put under the microscope. Despite no evidence connecting them to the crime, the Ramseys were often portrayed as guilty, and the investigation remained stalled. In 2008, a new prosecutor publicly cleared the family of all suspicion after new DNA evidence was tested, which showed that the DNA found at the crime scene did not match any of the Ramsey family members. However, by then, the case had gone cold, and the Zodiac-like taunting letters from the killer had stopped. Fast forward to 2025, and there's new hope for solving the case, largely due to advancements in DNA technology. Genetic genealogy, which has been used to solve other high-profile cases like the Golden State Killer, could potentially match the DNA recovered from the crime scene to a suspect who had not previously been considered. John Ramsey, JonBenet's father, has been advocating for the use of modern DNA techniques for years. His passion for solving his daughter's murder has not wavered, and he recently expressed optimism after meeting with new Boulder Police Chief Stephen Redfern. In a recent interview, John Ramsey shared his belief that genetic genealogy could hold the key to unlocking the mystery of JonBenet's murder. John Ramsey's optimism stems from his recent discussions with the Boulder Police Department, where he pressed for a renewed investigation using DNA genealogy and cutting-edge forensic labs. Ramsey is hopeful that police will now take a more active approach to solve the case, and has even expressed his belief that they could work with federal agencies like the FBI to assist in the investigation.
It's a way she's kind of with me. Somebody asked me once, what would you say to JonBenet if you could? She knew she was loved. I mean, we told her that every day. But I would tell her, I'm sorry, I didn't protect you. That's a father's job.
We are encouraged that the police will finally use the FBI's skills and resources to help solve our case, Ramsey told the U.S. Sun. The Netflix docuseries, Cold Case: Who Killed JonBenet Ramsey, which was released in 2024, has brought the case back into the public eye and raised significant new questions about unresolved evidence and suspects. The show features John Ramsey's ongoing pursuit of justice and highlights how modern techniques such as genetic genealogy could solve the case. Let's do a reverse family tree and see if he had a relative living in Boulder in 1996, John suggested in the docuseries. The interesting thing about these cold cases is that the ultimate first arrests came out of nowhere. They were on no one's radar. Genetic genealogy has emerged as one of the most powerful tools in solving cold cases. This technique combines DNA evidence with traditional genealogy methods to trace a person's family tree and identify relatives. It has already been used successfully to catch serial killers like the Golden State Killer, and John Ramsey believes it could also solve JonBenet's murder. John believes that the DNA evidence recovered from the crime scene, including hair, skin, and blood, could be cross-referenced with genealogical databases to find a familial match. The idea is to trace a relative of the killer who may still be living in the Boulder area and who could hold the missing link to solving the case. By focusing on genetic evidence that was previously ignored or mishandled, authorities now have the ability to follow new leads and potentially uncover the identity of JonBenet's killer. As DNA technology improves, investigators have the tools needed to perform a more thorough investigation and possibly identify the killer, even if they have long since passed away. In December 2024, John Ramsey received a letter from an anonymous sender who claimed to know the identity of JonBenet's killer. Although Ramsey reached out to the sender for further information, the mysterious individual has yet to respond. Nonetheless, this latest development has added fuel to the fire for John Ramsey, who remains determined to find answers for his family. "Please help us," John Ramsey pleaded in a recent interview. "I'm not vindictive, I just want an answer. And if you can help us with that, please call. Call the police department and we'll be grateful." The letter, combined with new DNA testing, has brought new hope that the case could finally be solved. As John Ramsey continues to advocate for justice, he remains steadfast in his belief that closure is within reach for his family, even after nearly 3 decades of pain and unanswered questions. The murder of JonBenet Ramsey has haunted both her family and the public for almost 28 years, and while various suspects have been named and theories proposed, the killer has remained elusive. However, with advances in DNA technology, the willingness of law enforcement to cooperate with genetic genealogists, and John Ramsey's tireless pursuit of justice, there is renewed hope that this case will soon be solved. In the words of John Ramsey, "We need to close this chapter." As new forensic techniques are put into action, JonBenet's family hopes that the mystery surrounding her death will finally be resolved and the killer brought to justice. After nearly 3 decades of uncertainty, will the killer finally be unmasked? With DNA testing and genetic genealogy, the long unsolved case may soon be one step closer to resolution, providing the Ramsey family with the answers they've been desperately seeking.